Everyone, welcome in. It's Julie Max and the Maine Stamper. I'm here for your weekly card class from Maine. It is a little bit after 8. I think it's 8:03 right now. If you're watching live, you're catching me just a few minutes past 8 o'clock. And I am still flying by the seat of my pants. You should see, I probably should have someone record me at some point, the stuff that goes on as I'm setting up for the live. I mean, it's just absolutely insane. So anyway, I am here a couple minutes late, but welcome in. We are on week number 3 of our Festival of Trees card classes. So we've had 2 weeks where I've chosen different stamp sets that have a pine tree in them, and we have been having some really good fun with cards. Now, if you missed week 1 or 2, they're available on replay. You can find them on my Facebook page, The Maine Stamper, or you can find them on YouTube, so check them out. Tonight, we are going big, big, big. We're going to go big tonight. We're going to go with the background stamp. Now, this is Fragrant Forest. It is a big stamp. It's a big one. You need the big block, right? This is the big stamp. And I have 3 cards that don't involve stamping the entire background and putting it on a card front. So I am changing it up. You know, I love to change it up. In fact, as a Christmas class, these cards may not seem all that Christmassy, right? I've got gray granite, white, and night of navy. So none of these are green, which is the first thing you would associate pine trees with, right? So it's always a fun surprise. Hi, Sandra! I'm so excited to see you. Hi, Linda. Hi, Jess. You guys are the bestest of the best. Hi, Deb. Oh my gosh, I love you guys. Oh, I'm going to do sneak peeks too. Well, peeks actually, because you probably have already seen, but I just did my Christmas stamp camp and I have all the projects here. So we're going to just flip through those really quickly. So let me get over to my workspace. We have so much to do tonight. All right, here we go. We are working on Fragrant Forest. It is on page 27 in the mini catalog. Again, it's just a big stamp, right? I've got the biggest block imaginable. Love this. I love the pine trees. I'm a pine tree girl, right? So here it shows you in the catalog, as intended probably, a background stamp, and they actually used some different colors of ink as they went down. So red rubber is really it holds ink really well, where you can add a color, you can just sponge on some more ink, sponge on some more ink, and you can get those 3 different tones really easily. So this is a really great way to use this up. Now, as you see, there are no sentiments, right? This is just a background stamp. So for tonight's class, I am pulling in Christmas classics. So I'm just grabbing sentiments from this one because I am making Christmas cards. Now, the cards that I'm making, a couple of them could be all occasion cards. They're that versatile. So I'm really excited to show you this class tonight. Now, as always, my card classes are free to watch. You guys are watching it, no charge, right? But if you want to get the card kits from my class tonight and you put in a $40 order, you're going to get 6 card kits. So you're going to get 6 of these fabulous card kits. Now you're going to have some interesting die cut pieces. You're going to have some specialty papers in here. We're still blinging it up, right? So this is one of the card kits. This is another card kit. So you've got that beautiful starry sky. You've got some fancy paper. You've got some punch circles on this one. Really pretty colors, right? Not necessarily pine trees, but we're going to see what happens. And then this one screams Christmas, right? We've got the fun ribbon, we've got all the reds and greens, and we've got this little specialty snowflake embossed piece right here. These are all die cut. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 different sizes of the deckled rectangles. They're coming to you die cut. So I'm doing a lot of the punching, embossing, die cutting for you because really there's nothing other than stamping for this particular card class. So this is a really easy card class. So if you're a beginner, this would be a really great way to get all of these things ready for you, and all you're doing is stamping. It's, I mean, super simple. You're gonna have some gorgeous cards. So speaking of the gorgeous Christmas cards, let's talk really quickly about my Christmas stamp camp, which was awesome. And if you were there, I so much appreciate it. And if you weren't there, I really missed you. These are still in their wrapper, so hopefully you can see them. I did this one with a little polar bear. So sweet. I love the polar bear. Oh, St. Nicholas. This was one of my favorites. I'm going to wait for that to catch. So St. Nicholas, I really wanted him to be popping out of the chimney. So we did the chimney. I cut a diagonal piece of early espresso. We embossed this with the it's got the brick, exposed brick, the embossing folder, and then we colored Santa in. We had to trim him because he's longer than the chimney when he pops out, but I love this one. Some starry sky there, right? We have, of course, the Christmas classics. This is a very Christmassy card. We had a little bit of like a rustic country look here, the little vibe here with the stocking. I love crumb cake and red together. And this one, I'm not going to open it completely because I'm going to use this as my fun fold on Thursday. But let me assure you that this is fabulously a fun fold. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on inside this card, and I can't wait to show you the rest of this card. We're gonna do a fun fold on Thursday. We're gonna change it up. If you watched my fun fold last Thursday, you saw this same recipe, and this time we just used the cute little critters and did some coloring there. And then we did the Merry and Bright. We've got the little bulbs here too. So I know they're in their little sleeves. Oh, this had that fun embossing folder. I did a really great wrap with this this really tiny little die. If you see the string of lights, this is super tiny. All we did is wrap that around the back, and we did not have to adhere all those little tiny bits. So, oh, and then there's always, oh my gosh, we did so many things. But I wanted to show off this advent calendar that we made. So if you went to my New York Stampin' Retreat, you may recognize this kind of frame. We did a white one, and we did inspirational papers. But this is basically a countdown. So you would be, depending on if you're counting down or up. Of course, I can't really manipulate this as it's standing on my desk, so it might be really hard for me to flip papers over. But I assure you that all of these specialty papers, as I flip them, you're going to see we have all these punched pieces and numbers, and I had a little bit of information on my blog. I'm not going to mess around with this too much, but we did a countdown calendar, and so we have all of the numbers 24 through 1, and that was a lot of fun to make. Okay, so we're going to get into our card class. I'm going to adjust my camera slightly, so just give me a second here because I see that it wobbled a little bit and it's kind of crooked, and we're doing better. Okay, let's jump into our first card tonight. So I haven't even showed you the cards yet, so let's check out card number 1. Now this one, to me, it's got a little sheen on the trees. I hope you can see the Wink of Stella on there. This one to me could definitely be a masculine card. It could be a birthday card. It doesn't have to necessarily be, I mean, it's not the most Christmassy card, but it is definitely a masculine card. And if you need a masculine card, maybe for your spouse or your son or someone that you want to give a Christmas card to, that you don't want it to be all girly, right? This is a really great way to use the stamp set. So let's take a look at what's in your first card kit. Now, of course, you're getting 2 of everything. You're going to make 2 of these cards. So you're getting 2 card bases with 2 envelopes. You're getting some of this really cute, I love the checkered ribbon. Now this is the new one. This has got the vanilla back rather than the white. So you're getting a couple of those. You've got some blingy paper here. I'm going to just grab out one of everything. Now I have die cut for you. I took the deckled circles and I die cut a chunk out of this. Look at this on the back. I love both of these papers. So the reality is, you know, if you're not doing trees, you could put something else in here on this card kit. We'll talk about that as we get going. And then you've got the white, which is going to be our trees. I think that's everything I need out. And let me put this aside, and we're going to start working on our first card kit. I do have already scored an A2 size card base. This is just a half a piece of cardstock, and it is scored in half at 4 1/4. So the first things we're going to do is some stamping. There's not a lot of stamping on this one. So I have, for this card, I brought in Tidings of Comfort and Joy. And the reason I chose that sentiment out of all the sentiments is because this is from A Christmas Carol. Not A Christmas Carol, the movie or book. This is a Christmas song, Tidings of Comfort and Joy. And I thought it would go really well with the music notes here on our designer series paper. So that's why I chose that one. Now I have Mossy Meadow and Gray Granite ink for tonight for this part of the card. And as you can see here, there's not a lot of trees that you see from this big background area. So I'm going to just focus on a section, and that's all I really even need to ink up. So we're going to grab out the Mossy Meadow. And I would like, I'm going to show you real quickly before I ink it where I'm going. So this section right here in the middle is where I'm going to be putting my paper to get this grouping of trees so that it looks kind of like this, because that's going to be the whole thing. So I'm just going to go ahead and ink the middle. That's all I'm inking. So just use your ink pad here. I'm trying to put the ink down, and I think my ink pad might be slightly warped because it takes a bit to fill in the middle. So I don't know if you can see that the middle is not getting filled in there. Another thing I could do is grab a blender brush or a dauber, and I could absolutely keep adding ink in that way. But I'm not trying to do the entire thing, and I don't have to pick this up and flip it over and then stamp, because I know that these background stamps are really bulky and heavy to like flip around. So what I'm going to do instead tonight is I'm going to be using the stamp facing up. I'm going to apply the ink and then I'm going to apply my paper. So you're just going to be really careful when you lay this down on top of this where you want it to go. So I'm going to just put it down right about here. And once you commit, there's no wiggling. Let me assure you, no wiggling. Now, because there's so much ink going on here, I'm going to recommend any kind of scrap paper. And you're just going to put this on over top of it. And you're going to do a little rubbing on it. Give it a nice massage. Tell the cardstock you love it and it's pretty. And probably it'll be nice to you. So obviously, your paper is here. So that took a lot of the ink off, which is really nice because when we pick this up, it's, you know, it's very inky. But look how amazing this is. I love the details here and all of the green. I mean, this is the perfect pine little grove here, I think. So I'm going to clean up my stamp really quickly because we are going to continue to ink this baby up all night long. So I'm going to just bring in my chamois. It is wet. It's just water on here. I love the chamois. And I'm going to get the green ink off so that next time we do our next card, we'll be good to go. So this is all we needed for this. We didn't need to flip it over. I'm just trying to wipe this off. I think my chamois is really, really wet. Okay, we're going to let this dry a little bit too, so that'll be nice. Okay, chamois going back into the case. My fingers have gotten really inky playing with this card, these cards tonight, but man, oh man, I'm telling you what, they're fantastic. Now, rather than glue things in an odd kind of way, I find that it's easiest to add the adhesive to here and then put this piece behind it. Before I do that though, I want to show you this side of the paper because it is really pretty. Now, I don't think it's beautiful enough to use with the trees because this is definitely a different green than I've got going on here. But let's just for the heck of it, let's just take a peek, right? Let's pretend we've got this glued down. So you can see here that the trees might not be the best choice, but if you had this kit at home and this is the bones of your card, you could stamp a sentiment in here. Let me flip this over and around so you can kind of get an idea. You could stamp a sentiment in here and have a really cute Christmas card. So you don't have to necessarily use what I'm using, but I'm just showing you what I did so that you can maybe, if you like it, you can copy. Now I'm going to use, again, I'm going to put this side down. So I'm just going to put a little bit of adhesive right around this circle. And then I'm going to put my trees facing front. I'm going to center it-ish here and flip it over, and there it is, just like that, right? So I'm going to just make sure that that adhesive is there. And because we focused on a specific section of our stamp when we put the ink on, I have pretty much the same kind of image here that I have in my first one. So that's just really pretty, right? Absolutely. So, oh, and you may notice there's a little bit of a difference here. One of them's kind of a shine. Hopefully one of them's shiny. The finished card has a sheen to it, and it looks a little bit different in color. And that's because I use my Wink of Stella, which is right here. So Wink of Stella is a fantastic thing. There were some girls at the stamp camp that were having all kinds of fun with Wink of Stella. They were winking up everything once they realized how awesome it was. Somebody had a tube of this, and they just started going to town with it, and it was just so funny to watch them enjoy putting this little bit of glitter on. So I have just winked up this tree right here, this tree right here, and this one right here. Now the wink actually kind of acts with the ink. The wink and the ink, they blend. It makes the ink kind of blend a little bit together, and it gives it a sheen, which is really nice. So it just kind of comes out of this little tube. You just brush it on, and I did this after I glued because I didn't want to have wet wink when I was trying to, you know, adhere this. It'd be all over my work surface. You saw how I flipped it around, right? Plus, I'm not wasting any. I'm only putting it where it needs to go, not on anything up and above and around. So, you know, our crafty items are very awesome items. I'm going to just kind of take a little bit off the tip of that. So there was a little bit of green ink on there. I just swiped it off on the side on my scrap paper, much like you would with a blending brush. Okay, so now we're going to put this piece onto our matted mossy meadow. So I'm just going to add some adhesive here, and we're going to plop this right over top onto this one. So this mats really nicely, and it just kind of continues to bring the green into the card here, because I did choose very neutral gray color here. This is gray granite. So now we've got that, and how beautiful is that, right? Going to go right on our card base, but before we do, I'm going to throw some dimensionals on, because I really feel like the dimensionals, if you use it somewhere on your card, totally elevates the look. I mean, it just makes it look richer and it gives it more prominence. I've really started to embrace the dimensionals, and lots of them. When I started with the card making, I was kind of frugal with my dimensionals. If you watch some earlier videos, I didn't use them a lot. I was frugal. I'd be like, oh, I think I only need 3. I can do this with 3. Now I'm like, I need 9. Let's do a triple, right? So I love the dimensionals. Make sure you know which way your card opens, and you're going to go ahead and pop this on here right centered. So again, it's going to look matted, but because it's popped up a little bit, it just elevates it. So that is just how easy it was to get this card, you know, going in the right direction. Now, I do have a little bit of bling. I'm trying to get rid of the backings of my my dimensionals and the ribbon. So we're going to do this next. We're actually going to do our swooshy ribbon. Let me bring in a little bit of tear and tape. My tear and tape's getting really low. Really low. I don't know how much tear and tape I need tonight. And we're going to put this piece of adhesive right here. So I know that my sentiment is about that long, so I'm just going to put it down right here. And I'm not going to worry that it's not in the right spot, because I am going to be covering that up quite a bit. Take your pick tool helps to get that little backing off really nicely. I should close my, no, I need Mossy. I'm looking at this open ink pad on my desk and I just panicked because I'm like, oh my gosh. All right, swooshy ribbons. I talked a little bit about this at the stamp camp. This is how I swoosh my ribbon. So I take the bottom section and I hold it in my hands, kind of like this, and then I kind of third it over and catch it, and I adjust as needed. As I can see how much I need this way, I'll adjust that. So I have this little swoosh right here. 1, 2, 3. So up, down, up. If you kind of go like this a little bit, you actually have a bow that doesn't have a knot in the middle. So you can put that down as a bow if you prefer to. Let's actually try it, see how it looks. We're going to try it, you know, because I like to do trial and error. So there's enough adhesive down here that it's catching all of that stuff. It's leaving me a little bow here, just like so. Whereas this one was the traditional up, down, and back. So I love to ask you guys which ones you like best. Before we put this on, we're going to stamp this, Tidings of Comfort and Joy. And if you want to sing along at home, you sure can. Now I'm going to stamp this closer to the right side, and I'm going to do something that I really don't like to do. Like, this is probably one of my least favorite ways to do these things. However, I'll bring in my paper snips. So I need to flag it, and there's not a lot of room here for a flag. It's going to be a very shallow flag, as you can see here. There's not a lot of room. So the best way to do this is, rather than start chopping toward the, you know, normally I go from the outer edge toward the middle, I'm going to find the middle section with my paper snips and just come in a little bit. So I'm just making a first little cut right there, and then I'm going to angle from where the cut is to the outside edge. I'm trying to do this farther away. I might have to like lift this up so I can see. And I'm just going to go that way, and then I'm going to go from the outer edge here up toward the middle cut. So I should have these cute little pieces that are going to come off, and that gives us a very shallow little flag. Now, flagging is not my favorite. I really like where I just do the angle cut, and I do that a lot. Angle cut is my jam. But this one kind of needed something a little different. So that's the direction we went. And, oh, that's grape. We don't want grape. Let's find the right dauber. Not all my daubers are labeled. This is gray granite. We're just going to darken this down a little bit. And by doing different things and not the same things every time, I want to give you guys at home watching something different, right? I don't want you to tune in and go, oh, she's doing that again. Okay, boring, seen it. So I like to try different things. I want to encourage you to try different things. And if I'm not trying different things, you're not trying different things, right? So we're going to use tear and tape again on this glimmery, glitzy disco paper. Like, this has some really wild stuff going on, right? So we're going to put this, actually I'm going to put it on here. We're going to put it on the bottom. This is the bottom of my sentiment, right? So we're going to put this on here. So just one little piece, and see if I can get this up before I grab my take your pick tool out, which is right in front of me, but you know, sometimes you just kind of go with it. All right, so we're going to adhere this together. Now that sticky tape is going to help to really hold this on here because this is a really hard thing for things to stick to. So I just stuck that down on there. Now it has a nice little border here of that shiny stuff. Now for here, where I'm going to put my dimensionals, instead of putting them all over here and trying to lay them on top of where the ribbon might be bumpy, I'm actually just going to bring a couple of dimensionals in here and here, right around my ribbon. And when I put this on, it's going to be just enough to hold this here without needing a ton of dimensionals. So we're going to just kind of see right about there, I think. And then I'm going to adjust my ribbon a little bit. So there we go, just like that. Tidings of comfort and joy. I feel like this might be slightly crooked. You know how that torques all of us, right? We're just like, no, don't be crooked. Okay, I think that's going to work. So let me move aside my dimensionals. And did I talk about your free embellishment? I don't think I did. Oh my goodness. So when you do a $40 order this week, you're going to get the 6 card kits. And when you do a $50 order this week, I'm going to give you the embellishment. Now this is the Adhesive Backed Sparkle Gems. They're sparkly and they work really well with these kits. They are in the annual catalog. They may not scream Christmas to you, but they're just neutral enough that you can use them with anything. So these are the embellishments, because as we all know, a lot of the embellishments from the mini catalog are always on back. Everything's on back order. So they're weeks out. So I'm just going to use these pretty little sparkles. Now I'm using the black color, almost like the darkest color, but it really works nicely with the ribbon. Now pretend this said happy birthday, right? So this could be a masculine birthday card too, but there we go. So we have the swooshy ribbon and we have the bow ribbon, and neither one of them were hard to do at all. So I'd love to know which of these 2 ribbons you like the best. Now I'm going to clean up here real quickly and we're going to jump into card number 2. And while I do so, I'm going to also pop over and make sure everything is going good. Hi, Janice. Inky Fingers, Show a Creative Mind. Yes. Oh, Melissa has the trees. Haven't used them. Oh my gosh, Melissa, card number 2 is going to be awesome. You're going to love that one. Okay, we've got a little bit of the bow and a little bit of the swoosh. And I'm trying to make sure I'm in camera, so I need to probably move down just slightly. Okay, we're going to move on to our next card. And this one, I said Melissa would like because I know she likes purples. So maybe she'll be a fan of this. You never know. Sometimes I get it. Sometimes I don't get it. It's always, kind of like, but here it is. And this one I chose Peace on Earth. So this one has some really great stars. I got to flip my camera back over here real quick. Okay. This one has the starry paper. We're going to use some blues and purples. So this may not be the most Christmassy looking card, but it sure is pretty. And anybody that's a fan of purple would certainly love to get a card like this. So here is the card kit. There's always lots of good stuff in the kits. This is Night of Navy card bases. I'm just going to pop those in there. 2 envelopes. We have circle punches. We've got the 2 3/8, and then we've got the 2-inch. So let me grab out just what we need and set aside some other things. So Gorgeous Grape. This is going to be our trees, believe it or not. This white paper right here, you know how I love to do ink, all kinds of inky things, right? This is from, and look at the back, you guys, how cute. So if you didn't want to make it maybe necessarily a Christmas card, you can flip it over and you could use this blue side too. I love when my card kits have paper that will flip nicely. Now this is from the Oh Holy Night Suite, so there's all kinds of stars. So it is meant to go on the Night of Navy base to matte. So you can't necessarily, unless you're going to trim it, right? It's not going to fit that way. So your stars are always going to be kind of like our constellations. They're always going to be in a different position. So each one of these cards will be a little bit unique depending on which paper you get and where any of these stars are located. I'm trying to decide which one I want to use for this next card. Maybe I'll try this one. I don't think these ones may not show up as much, but we'll go with that one just so you can see what it would look like. Okay, and then I have lots of purple, lots of blues. Okay, I think I have everything for one kit. This is all for one card kit plus the card base. Okay, so here we go. So I don't mess around when I send you kits. I send you lots of good stuff. All right, this card is so awesome. I love it. We're going to start with, again, we're just going to start with our beautiful trees and the application of the ink. So this time I've got Peace on Earth. I'm just going to grab them out. For my ink, I have Gorgeous Grape, Orchid Oasis, and Night of Navy. So these are all really great blue, purpley tones. And we're going to start with Night of Navy. And we're focusing here on this particular card, on this ridge down here, the bottom ridge of pine trees. This is where we're going this time. So again, I'm not using this stamp today as just like a big background stamp. I'm not stamping it on paper and going, here's your card, right? I mean, anybody can do that at home. You already know how to use a background stamp. I'm going to show you different ways in this class on how you can use different sections of the stamp and not have to use it as a background stamp. So this is where we're going with it. So I'm going to bring in Night of Navy. Again, we're focusing on this bottom ridge here. When I bring in my paper, before I do all the good stuff to it, I am going to be focusing on this section down here. Right? So I'm going to focus on the top of this tree and just kind of coming down this way. So again, Night of Navy ink. We're going in, we're doing it. Enough talking, let's do the inky thing. So again, I don't have to ink. I don't have to waste lots of ink going up higher because I don't even need any of that. And we're going to close this up so we don't make messes. We're going to bring this in again. You're going to just flip this down on top of this. Actually, I'm going to turn it sideways because it's a little bit easier. I really want to focus on this long tree right here. I want to make sure I get all of that in. So I'm going to just bring this down to the edge and across and bring in my scrap paper, and we're going to do the same thing we did on the first card. We're just going to let this paper absorb any extra ink, and we're also going to make sure that our cardstock is getting that great press. Like normally we press down, right? We're pressing down with our stamp. Because we're not pressing down, we have to press down on paper, and we're getting the same effect. And then we're going to flip it up, and we're going to see, look at the blue trees. I love the blue. Now before I go further, I'm just going to stop real quick, clean up my stamp. Again, this is the only big background stamp I'm using tonight, so as we use it for each card, I'm using different colors of ink on it. You can see my chamois has taken a beating too. It's getting all kinds of good ink on it. So I'm just going to clean this up real quickly. And I like the chamois. I know some of you out there love the baby wipes. Let me tell you what, they leave a lot of fuzz on your stamp, and then the baby wipes fuzz gets into your ink pads. So I am just going to say the chamois, whether you use the Stampin' Up chamois, whether you go to Walmart and buy it, you know, a chamois for your card, it's awesome. I would go with the chamois and water any day. Okay, so now we have our beautiful trees, but it looks a little different from this, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to tear. Now I know not everyone's a fan of tearing, but we're going to very carefully tear down and around. So I'm just catching this bottom ridge of trees right here, and it's okay if I leave white on the top. I'm just trying to get rid of this row here, both of those rows. I just want to kind of tear this away. So just feel free, get creative. You can use paper snips if you don't like the tearing effect. Use this for something else if you want to, but this is where we're going. We want this. Now we're going to turn this into a purple, beautiful, like just landscape here. So you can see how different this looks from this. And this is where I love to play with ink so much. Orchid Oasis is our first stop. So I'm going to get the Orchid Oasis out, and I'm going to get, oh man, maybe you can see it better on this side. You're going to see my notes over here too. You might see my notes, but that's okay. You're all my friends here watching. It's all good. This is kind of this was my ideas for colors that I wanted to use for my cards tonight. So I started just writing them down on a piece of paper, and my designs went from there. So Orchid Oasis, I'm just going to do a circular motion here with my blending brush, and I'm going to start from the bottom and work up, but I'm not going to go all the way to the top. Now I'm going to just do part of this so that you can see how beautiful this fills in down here at the bottom. I'm not even going to go all the way up the trees, just to show you. It gives that nice, it just fills in where the pines, the stamp has some blank or white spaces, and it gives that lift of purple coming up and out, which I think is just so pretty. So I'm just going to continue here. I want to catch all of the pine, like all the back of the pine trees with this Orchid Oasis, and how beautiful. It just looks like a nighttime vision, doesn't it? It's so pretty. All right, that's it. Orchid Oasis is done. So simple, right? I hope you guys are watching this going, I can do this, because I know you can. This is Gorgeous Grape. So now we're going to come in with like a deeper grape color. Let me switch my brushes over. So we're going to bring in Gorgeous Grape. Same thing. I'm just going to rub this in a little circle and get a whole bunch of ink on here. Now this time I'm going to come down from the top into the Orchid Oasis. So I want the purplies at the top here. And we're going to make sure we're getting lots of good ink in here. We're going to blend it right in to our Orchid Oasis. And we're going to make sure that the outline, the torn paper, I should say, the torn paper is going to take the ink a little bit darker than the not torn paper, so it gives it even an extra depth right there. But here we go. Isn't that so pretty? Hopefully you can see this. As I'm looking at my camera, it just all looks dark. So I hope that you can see how beautiful this is. I mean, it's just absolutely gorgeous. Love it. All right, that's our ink blending for the evening here with the purples and the blues. And extra inky fingers is great. Let's put together the bones of our card here, because you got all kinds of good stuff. So again, Night of Navy base. We've got Gorgeous Grape. We've got Night of Navy. So these ones I'm just going to start gluing together and adhering my mats. I love the mats. Lots of good mats. Now this time I actually trimmed the purple paper. The Gorgeous Grape is 1/8 inch smaller than the Night of Navy, so it gives just the very faintest. You can see it more when it goes back onto the Night of Navy, a very faint outline. It's not super noticeable, but it just lifts that Night of Navy up just a little bit so you can see it. Now we're going to bring in our starry paper here, and again, it's going to come down here and mat beautifully. If you were using it in a different direction, it's going to look like it doesn't fit. Also, bones of your card, let's just pretend we're going to put this down instead. So let's pretend you don't want to maybe make a tree starline type card, right? You're going to just maybe use these things and put this on here and make a really cute birthday card. Oh, look at that. It's beautiful colors together, right? So your card kit can be whatever you want it to be. Does not have to be exactly what I just did. All right, so we're going to go ahead and continue to add on as intended, because I do really like this deep starry pattern. So we're going to put our stars on here, matting this beautifully here. Top, left, and right, we're matting. So you're going to see there's still some blue here at the bottom. This is where this shiny paper goes. It is meant to go down, just it's like only one side is beautiful, so you definitely know that you want this Night of Navy shimmer paper down right here. And it does fit here just snugly. It kind of blends in to the sides, but it does fit just right. I measure things so carefully that they would be beautiful. And we're going to go ahead and layer this down. This doesn't have any dimension till we get to our sentiment. So again, making sure you know which way your card is going to open. And then this is going to layer onto here. Look at all these beautiful colors together. You could even make a birthday card with this. Like, I think it's gorgeous. Now, when we get to the trees, I actually put this little purple piece right above the shiny paper, and then I put my trees right above that. And I wanted my trees to be up higher because I wanted to be able to put my sentiment here and still see a lot of trees. If I had put my paper down here, and then, because normally that's what I do, and I kind of bridge the distance with this purple strip right here. By the time I put this on here, it really hides too much of the tree line. So my little workaround for this was to go ahead and put this purple down first. Now, because this is a small piece, I'm actually just going to come across the bottom here with my adhesive rather than put it on here and try to pick it up and I'll have it all over my fingers. Whenever you can put the adhesive down on your card base rather than on the paper that you're applying. So I'm just going to put this little purple strip right across there, and then we're going to add in, look at how white this paper is on the back. We made such a pretty thing out of white paper. I adore that. All right, so this is going to come down here. Again, beautiful, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be Christmas, but this one is. This is going to be Peace on Earth with Night of Navy. And of course, you could use the grape here too. You don't have to necessarily do Night of Navy. If you prefer to do Gorgeous Grape, it would work really well. So there's Peace on Earth, which Night of Navy is a great color. It almost appears black. I'm going to wipe this off really quickly just because there's so much ink on this one. Let me bring in, I'm going to have to go clean my little chamois here when we're done tonight. Inking it up. Okay, with the circle right here, I did actually deepen down the outside edges because I love to do things like that. This time I'm going to bring in a dauber rather than the blending brush, which you could use. I do like to use the dauber here for smaller things that I'm holding, that I can hold up, and just add a little bit along the edges and just kind of add that extra little bit of layering here, right? Because the ink almost acts like it's another layer of color because it's got the darker tone to it. Okay, so that'll be good for that one. And we are going to glue these together, our little circles here. So again, this is the 2/8 inch circle. This is the 2-inch circle. The 2-inch circle punch is available in the online store. The 2 3/8 punch you will find in the annual catalog, in case you're wondering where all these punches come from. I love me some good circle punches, and of course anything that nests in layers. I'm going to do 3. I'm doing 3. There we go. I committed. I almost did 4. I did 3. 3 for the circle. So that's going to come off. This is the only time we're using dimensionals on this card. Let me move these little papers off to the side. And we've got the piece on Earth. Hopefully I'm still in camera. I haven't been paying attention. Okay. I just looked up. Looks like I'm in camera view. So we're going to put that right about there. And isn't it beautiful? Now this one does, the stars did kind of peek up and over. So it's really cool. Love it. Now for the bling on this one, I did go with silver because I thought that would be best. I'm wondering if I could, maybe I'm going to try the gold on this one. Let me try the gold. It's more like a champagne color, so it's not really gold. And I went old school, actually. I just put them right here on this little, I like to call these belts. These are the color belts, like a belt that holds up your pants, right? So you know what? Not really happy with the placement on that one. Let's try that again. This one's up too high. My goodness. One of those evenings with the dimensionals. And not really the dimensionals, the embellishments. Okay, I can pick this up. This is the champagne. So we've got purple and champagne, and this is the silver. I really like the silver. I think I'm going to be Camp Silver on this one. It kind of mimics the sky, but if you're somebody that likes, you know, the more golden colors, the champagne colors, you could definitely use them on this card. I'm just going to continue to adjust that until I'm happy. And there we go, card number 2. Hopefully it's showing up well for you guys. I know this is a really dark card, so it may be harder to see. Hi, Karen. Oh my gosh. I love that you continue to love all my Christmas cards. I'm going to be doing this for weeks. Jess loves the piece on Earth. Oh, Linda, I love shading for coloring. Oh yeah, Melissa says reminds me of the Journey something DSP. Yes. So we're kind of making that we're making that out of our stamps this time. So it's always nice to have, I mean, we run out of paper, right? We can buy the DSP that's beautiful, but we're going to eventually run out. So if you have a stamp that can work like this one does, I mean, just so pretty, right? So that's card number 2. Let me set this one aside and we will move on to our third and final card. So the third card is super Christmassy tonight. As you can see here, we've got all kinds of good white and red and green. I know you're going to want to check out this card. This one is a Merry Christmas card. So we're taking advantage of the traditionalist colors, and we're going back to green trees. So if you recall from our very first card, we used, and what a difference the greens make, right? So the first trees here, they're the mossy. They're kind of like the camo green. They're like a masculine green. And this is shaded spruce. This is a really a brighter green, and it's more traditional green, and I chose, you know, to dress it up with some red as well. So this is going to be our third card tonight, and here is your overflowing card kit. Hopefully my ink will not transfer. I think it's dry. Let's hope. But there's all kinds of good stuff in here. You're actually getting a yard of ribbon. Like a yard of ribbon. I measured this out. Yeah, there's a lot of ribbon on this card, so you're getting a yard of ribbon. Go figure. I just get crazy sometimes with the Christmas cards. I go overboard because I love it. Okay, so these are all, as I'm going to pull these out, these are all deckled rectangle dies. So these are all die cut for you. They've got a nice little edge here. You're going to have enough for 2 cards. You're going to have some really cute, I love this berry little sprig designer series paper. But again, on the back side, if you want to just keep this more green, red and green without those berries, you can flip that over and you can use the green side too, which I might do because I want to change it up and show you what it'll look like if we swap it out. Now we've also got this really awesome, I think I've used this every week. You know, when I use something every week for like 3 weeks in a row, you know, I absolutely love this embossing folder. Let me see, where did we use it last time? So on our red and green card from last time, let's check them out, right? So this was from week 2, this one right here. I have the same embossing folder, kind of the same color tones going on as well. different, you know, a little bit of a different ribbon. I wanted to check that out. And then in week 1, my cards are just sitting right over here. Did I use it in week 1? Maybe I did not. No, I didn't use it in week 1. So I just used it recently in both of these card kits. Okay. So there we go. We're going to just pull this out because we only need one of these. And we have a white card base right here. And we're going to talk about our bones of our card here. And then we're also going to talk about how we're going to use our stamp set one more time, not as a background, and make a big, big stamp image. We're just going to use part of this as well. So let me flip that back over so we can see what's going on with it. And let's put our bones together first. So we've got this really great designer series paper, which I talked about earlier. It's meant to mat on this cherry cobbler. I am going to put, I love these berries so much, but I do want to see what it's going to look like if we go more traditional, just red, green, keep it really, really perfect colors for Christmas. So I did it, I glued it down, and this green has a little bit of blue in it, which is really pretty. I love that too. All right, so we are going to put this onto the snowflake pattern. Now the snowflakes, heavier at the top, lighter at the bottom, or you can do opposite. So I like to keep the bottom part, the heavier embossed piece, and the top part a little bit lighter, and I think I'm just going to continue to do that. I can't quite make myself flip that embossed piece upside down. I don't know about you guys at home. If you're doing using this where the heaviest snow is at the bottom, which makes sense, right? Because that's where it all piles up on us. And I'm going to go ahead and glue that down so you can see where we're going with the bones of this card, right? So we've got our card base, we've got some really great, already so beautiful. Now, before we get going any further, I do want to do our stamping. So we're going to stamp our sentiment on the white, and we're going to stamp our trees on the bigger white. And we are using ink in cherry cobbler and shaded spruce. So obviously shaded spruce is our trees. Let's do our focus for our trees. Now for this card, I really focused on just kind of this middle section. I have the path that kind of winds around here, so you can kind of see it here. I did, of course, cover it up. So we're focusing on the middle for this one. There's really no right or wrong, but we're going to do the same thing we did in our first 2 cards. We're just going to open up our ink pad, and we're going to keep this facing up, and we're going to put on some ink. And that should be good right there. I think that'll do it. Just like that. Now, let me bring in my little piece here. Now when you're using the deckled pieces that are already die cut for you, just flip them over. One side's a little bit rougher on the edges, and the other side, the front side looks prettier. So keep the front side down, because that's the side we're actually stamping, and just figure out kind of where you want this to go on here. Commit. Don't wiggle it, or you're going to have a smudgy mess. And one more time, we're going to rub this down, and we're going to get a nice image on our paper. We're going to get rid of all the extra ink that's on here, or at least a good amount of it. So a lot of it transfers over to the paper, which also will be really pretty when you're done. And then you flip it over, and again, look at those beautiful green trees. Love that. Now I'm going to set this aside. I can clean that up later. I don't have to do that right now. We're going to continue to use shaded spruce. I shouldn't have probably closed that up. We're going to bring in a sponge dauber. Is this my shaded spruce? I think it is. It is. Okay. Let me put this away, and we're going to just add some ink here. Again, with the sponge dauber, a little bit along the edges, not too far in, and it's going to give us that extra layer of color. And because the deckled rectangle dies are, they give a little bit of a bigger border between sizes, so they're not real snug in going down a size or up a size. So as I do the outside edges and then I put this on here, you're still going to see, just because I only did the outside edges, there's still a little bit of lighter green that's going to show up here a little bit on this piece, and it's going to be really pretty. All right, let me close that down. We're going to glue these together. I never used to be a fan of shaded spruce, but now I'm loving it. I don't know why it took me so long to decide. This great green, right? This is actually my birthstone color. I'm a May baby, so I have the emerald as my birthstone color. And there we have it. So that is gorgeous right there. I'm going to bring in cherry cobbler. We're going to do our sentiment. And our sentiment actually is in two sections. We have Christmas in a scripty font, and we have the printed Merry in capital letters. So on one piece of paper, we're gonna hit both of these up. So I'm gonna just go ahead and put this. This is photopolymer, so you're able to see right through it. We're gonna put this toward the bottom of this little die cut, because I want to leave room at the top for the Merry. Now, a lot of times it sticks to your paper, and that's okay. You can pull it off, or sometimes like that, it just fell off, which is great. Now we're going to get Merry in here, and we're going to put Merry right up here at the top. And now we have Merry Christmas. We're good there. Just like that. Sometimes it's easier to have two separate stamps than one, because then you have a little bit more different ways you can use. If Merry Christmas was just one stamp, you would be more stuck with like how you could stamp that down. But we have Merry Christmas. We are just putting that on the next die cut up. So pretty. And now let's go back to our bones here, because what we're going to do is we're actually going to wrap some ribbon here before we put these other pieces on. So remember I told you have a ton of ribbon. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to decide how much ribbon you need right here along your cardstock to wrap to the back. So you just want like a 1/2 inch really on either side. 1/2 inch is pretty good. If you feel you need a little bit more, certainly take it. But we're going to just go ahead and put some adhesive down on this ribbon. This is a nice iridescent ribbon, so it's got the instant bling, right? So all of our Christmas cards so far have had lots and lots of bling on it. And I'm just using the tape. Glue does not work on ribbon, just in case you're wondering why I've switched to tape. And I like to work on my silicone mat here too, because then I've got the tape on here. It's sticky, but this works really well. I'm going to put that down right about there. And I'm going to take the ends that we left long, and I'm going to add a little bit of tape runner to each side here. If I can get this to work again. Going forward, there we go. And then I'm just going to bring these little ends up and snag them here on the tape, and now they're held in place just like that. So I just wanted to get that on there before this goes on the card base. And this is going to have dimensionals, so let's grab those out, and we're going to pop on enough dimensionals to give this little piece some lift. So we're going to do one in each corner. That's where I like to start. Then I'm going to grab 2 toward the middle, and then 1 toward the outside. And that's my favorite. This is my favorite way now to use the dimensionals for the larger piece. This is 4 by 5 1/4, so it is the biggest mat size that we normally are using on our card fronts, unless you're going crazy and doing those 5 3/8 and 4 1/8 kind of jobs, right? So again, always make sure you know which side is opening and then which side is prettier too. So I'm going to go this way, and I'm going to put this on here just like this. So again, it's got that nice little bit of lift. And then we're going to add more dimension. This one's going to be a little bit over the top. This is one of those really fancy cards, right? So we're going to do, again, outside corners. They're dimensionals. And then for this one, I might just do, it's always I always wonder, like, how did I do this last time? I'm going to do that many. I always put it on and feel if it's wobbly or not. And then if I need to add a couple more, I sure will. But I think we're good here. Some of you at home might have added 2 more. I just know it. Maybe even 4 more. I've seen it happening. Okay, so we're going to put this on right about here. I think I moved my ribbon over just a little bit farther, maybe than I wanted it to be, but we are working with it here. So I'm going to put that on with the dimensionals, and then with the remainder of my ribbon, here we go. Okay, we can make a pretty bow. I'm going to do bunny ears. Let me try bunny ears here. See how this goes for me. I might have to rework it, but maybe not. I hope not. I hope not. I hope there's no knot in my ribbon and I can do this. Okay, so I have a little bit that I can trim off, and that's perfectly acceptable. I'm going to bring in my ribbon scissors, the ones that only ever see ribbon. And yes, that'll work perfectly. So just like that, I'm trying to get this little bow here. I need some tear and tape. My favorite way to pop the bows onto this. Sometimes I make a bow and then I'm like, which side did I want in the front? Which side did I want in the back? Usually you can tell there's a prettier side than the nastier side, right? I shouldn't say nasty. It's all beautiful. All right, so this little bow is going to go on here on a sideways way. kind of, if I had put the ribbon over a little bit, maybe a ½ inch this way, it would have lined up a little bit better, kind of like this one did. I wanted the appearance here that I've got that, but this is over a little bit farther, and that's okay, right? All cards are unique, just like we are. And we're going to go ahead and glue this down here, this Merry Christmas, just right about here. And that fits across there, just like that. And this is the difference now between the two. So remember when I switched the DSP up, I had the pretty berries and I had the solid green. I'd love to know which one of these is your favorite. Now we have to add some bling, of course. So let me close up my glue here and think about some bling. Now I added the silver because I didn't think the gold quite went as well. I think I'm still going to stick with silver. So we're going to go with silver. Now, when you get your bling at home, you're going to have tons of choices, right? I mean, you could use whichever ones. You could use however much you wanted even. So I'm going to just pop a couple of these on here. I think I'm going to do one here, one down here. And these are 2 sizes, if I didn't mention this before. These are a couple of sizes. So there's smaller ones right from here up, they're smaller, a little bit smaller. From here down, they're bigger. So you do have 2 sizes, which is kind of nice because I like to mix them up and use 2 different sizes. But here are the pretty cards right here. That is card number 3, the fancy card, right? I try to do the fancy card at the end. And then, of course, the beautiful piece on earth. And we started out with just a really easy card that could definitely be a masculine card. It could be a birthday card. I mean, even the piece on earth, you could definitely change that up as well. So those are the 6 cards that you're getting this week when you place your order with me. Let me pop back over and check out all of your comments. Oh, Karen likes number 2. It is so pretty with the purples. And Jess says the red and green. I know. Oh, she says they're beautiful cards to choose from. Sandra's team varies. Karen's green on green. So I love, and that's why I try to show you when I'm making these cards. I try to make those little tweaks because not everyone likes the same thing, and we all shouldn't. We should all like different things just because we're all different people doing cards for different people, right? So Jess says the piece on earth is her favorite. Janice says it's a tough choice. Traditional wins. I know, I love it. So every week during my Festival of Trees, I'm definitely going to show you a red, white, and green card, a really classic Christmas card, but the other cards we're going to have a little bit of fun with. So thanks, Patty. She says all 3 are beautiful. I'm glad you guys enjoyed this card class. So I wanted to share with you a really great way to use the background stamp and just take a little portion of it. I know that they can be really hard to use because they're so big and you've got to turn them over and it's hard on the hands. But if you can do it the way that I did it tonight, where you're putting the paper to the stamp, totally different, right? But it's definitely doable. You can choose any background stamp. There's a whole bunch of them in the end catalog. You should check them all out. And see what you can do with any of those as well. So thank you guys so much for enjoying this card class. I will be back on Thursday. I'm just checking the time here, just before 9. Thursday at 3, I have that fun fold that I'm really excited to share with you. Now, if you were at my Christmas stamp camp, you already know how the fun fold works. I'm going to be using this stamp set here, this beautiful tree, and we're going to continue to, so this card will be definitely different from the stamp camp, but you already have the recipe. Everyone else will be getting it in your email newsletter on Thursday, so you're going to want that card recipe. Make sure you get onto my email list before then. It's a fabulous card. I'm so excited to share with you. All right, thank you so much for taking some time with me. If you have any questions on ordering with me, let me know. If you're thinking about becoming a Stampin' Up! Demo, not doing the business side, but maybe just getting that 20% discount, because the 20% discount is awesome. You have 2 more days. Well, actually, today's almost over. You have through the end of tomorrow, October 31st, to jump on that special where you get more in the starter kit. And then from there, 20% off your orders through the end of March. No strings attached. Doesn't matter how much you buy, doesn't matter, you don't have to sell it. You're just basically getting yourself a discount. If you have any questions on that, please reach out to me sooner rather than later. I'd love to get you onto my creative crew. I want to say a special happy birthday to Cindy Bradford. If you're watching, Cindy, if you're watching this on replay, happy birthday. Cindy just took advantage of the starter kit special and she joined my team yesterday. What a great birthday gift she gave to herself. I am so excited for Cindy to welcome her in. And I know I have some other team members on here watching too. We have a new teamie, Cindy B. She's on our team. I'm really excited. All right, everybody, that's all I've got for tonight. Have a wonderful evening, and until next time, stay inspired, create something beautiful, and share the love. Bye, everybody.